Hey, welcome to Sports Unfolded, episode 41. I'm your host, Eric, with my main man, Ron. How you doing, Ron?
How are you, Eric?
I'm good. I'm excited. We got big news. We're now on SEC TV in Southeast Connecticut. That's public access on Channel 12. So we're excited as well to add to our family.
More eyeballs.
More eyeballs on us. So as we normally do, we start off with our leadoff story. And our leadoff stories this week, there's actually multiple stories because we're going to discuss the three games that took place last night, yesterday, for Thanksgiving. The Bears at Lions, Raiders at Cowboys, and Bills at Saints. So first game obviously was the Bills. The Bears defeated the Lions 16-14. What do you think overall of that first game?
Uh, that the Bears have a long way to go because they just barely beat Detroit.
Barely.
Barely.
Right. So if you look at it, a couple of things. There was a lot of discussion about Matt Nagy getting fired and then he came out how excited he was that they won the game. Listen, you beat an 0-9 team who is now 0-10, who has found ways to lose. They double timed out at one point where ended up giving them a penalty and allowing the Chicago Bears to get that additional 5 yards, which made a third down much easier to convert to and then run out the clock.
Right.
So I think, honestly, listen, we knew the Lions were going to be what the Lions were. There was only one individual that believed the Lions were going to be pretty good, and that's Kenny. So we'll wish Kenny a happy birthday, by the way. It's Kenny's birthday today. Kenny, great call on the Jared Goff, Detroit Lions. Your president is they lost again. But
Look, Chicago.
they're in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're in trouble. I think, listen, no matter what pans out from Fields and how he progresses, Matt Nagy's most likely not there after this season. I just think the Bears are going to let it ride through.
Yeah. They said that they never fired a coach during the season.
Yeah.
Um, this could be the first time. I'm not sold he's going to make it through the year. Not sold on that.
Yeah, one of the interesting stats I saw, and I thought it was great, was Matt Nagy's like 7-1 all time against Detroit, and he's like 500 versus everybody else. I think he was like 26-25 or something to that effect against all the other teams. Like, yes, you should be able to beat Detroit, but he hasn't been able to get this team to where it needed to be in his entire coaching tenure.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to say, listen, fire Matt Nagy, but obviously there's got to be a change there. What about on the Detroit Lions side? Sarah, thanks for joining. Do you think that Campbell should be worried about his job security?
I don't think so. You got to give him one more year because he didn't have anything going into the season, and I don't know how much of that is his blame, but I would think that hardly any of it is his because he's not the GM, right?
No.
Right. So the GM put the players on the field for him, and it was not good.
So the only thing I would question, Anthony Lynn, who came over from the Los Angeles Chargers, became their offensive coordinator a few weeks ago. I guess Campbell decided he didn't like the way the offense was going. He's calling the offensive plays. Their offense is atrocious.
Yeah.
Jared Goff, and to Kenny's Jared Goff, to me, honestly, I watched more third down plays in that game where it was like 3rd and 5 and he's throwing a little, 1 yard pass instead of actually just looking for something that's, within the first down marker. Like there was no effort to even try to get first downs. Some of that's the play calling. They've got to make better, calls on what they're doing. So I think he's safe to your point for now, but I could see Campbell not making it through next season if they continue to go at this route. Let's talk about the one game. Oh, go ahead. You had something else on that game?
No, I just like I said, I don't think he should be the fall guy for this. I think you got to give him another year because look, I mean, he can get the team fired up, and that's all fine and dandy. But if you don't have the talent, you ain't doing anything.
No,
and he
agreed.
doesn't have the talent.
No, definitely.
So you got to give him another year.
Definitely. The game of the day yesterday was definitely that Raiders-Cowboys game. The Raiders defeated the Cowboys in overtime 36-33.
Hated it.
Hated that game?
I hated the game.
Was it the 28 penalties?
The penalties just ruined the flow of the game.
28 penalties.
You take out all those plays with all those penalties, and there were penalties that were thrown that obviously weren't counted because it was, denied.
Yeah.
But it was just awful. It was awful. I mean, every play it felt like there was a penalty on the play. It was just brutal. It was brutal. And yes, in between those flags, there was a good game. But all in all, I hated it. There was just way too many flags. And it's not the ref's fault, although some of them were.
I mean, again, we officiating, you could go either way and criticize sometimes. But, overall, you're talking about a split second to make a decision. I think overall, though, you got to start to be concerned about how the Cowboys are playing.
Oh my God.
3 of the last 4. Listen, we've talked about them fixing the running game and getting Zeke more involved. They can't seem to figure it out how to do that. I understand they've had some, injuries, guys out with, the COVID situation with Cooper and then CeeDee Lamb being out yesterday. But you're still seeing the same trends of they just can't figure out a way to win games. And to me, it feels like McCarthy's the reason that this team is not going to succeed in the playoffs. I mean, Mike McCarthy doesn't seem like, listen, the one year he did win it, it was with Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. So he had to talk on, and I'm not saying Dak Prescott's not a very good quarterback, because he is. But you also got to start to question McCarthy and some of his decision makings and how this team, you get 14 penalties. That's usually a result of bad coaching, not being disciplined.
Yeah, and we went through some of that, in like the first 4 or 5 games with New England.
And then you started to see them figure it out.
This is something that is just starting to spurn for the Dallas Cowboys, but it shouldn't be at this point of the year. And that is definitely a discipline problem. And I think he needs to rein it in before he gets carried away, because it was pretty ugly. Some of those penalties were just stupid.
Yeah. You expect it from the Raiders. The Raiders predominantly have been an organization that has always had penalties, just bad plays. I mean, they're known for it. It's common. To see the Cowboys, who are supposed to be this, high-powered offense in this team that is a potential contender for the Super Bowl, what you saw yesterday, I'm not as impressed. I think they're gonna have some struggles in the NFC, especially if they play that way.
Yeah, and if they don't get home field advantage, it's going to be really ugly. I mean, because we know they're going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, they should. Yeah,
but
the
if
Eagles
you're
are creeping
the
up.
4 seed,
the Eagles are creeping up. They may not win the division.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw the 5 and 6. The Eagles.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a possibility. What about the late game? The Bills crushed the Saints 31-6.
The Saints are bad.
Jekyll and Hyde, though. Listen, if you look at sometimes the Saints' problem is this. To me, I don't know why Taysom Hill isn't quarterbacking, and I don't know if he's hurt, and that might be something I missed. But Jameis Winston, as much as we criticized him, had this team at 5-2.
Right.
So you can see that with the quarterback play, with Simeon, that they've definitely taken a step back. And at some point, you got to decide to make a change. I think Sean Payton needs to really start to look at it and say, what do I do to get this team back on track? The Buffalo Bills, to me, still, I mean, as impressive as the win of 31-6, they played down to their competition a lot of times. They've lost some bad games. They've lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars. They lost to the Houston Texans.
Yep.
You can't expect to win the playoffs if you're going to perform that way. So we're going to have to see if Josh Allen, who's definitely having a bad year this year, he's not the same Josh Allen he was last year.
Yeah, he threw a couple of picks yesterday.
And you play a good team who capitalizes on those turnovers, they're going to lose those games, especially in December, in January during the playoffs.
Right, and New Orleans couldn't do that because they had no quarterback.
Exactly. Their offense is not equipped right now to honestly, do anything. But overall, listen, 2 out of the 3 games were at least interesting to the end. I thought the NFL did a really good job with some of the scheduling here. I do question the fact, and I think there's actually a petition starting to go out there as to why the Detroit Lions have to host. It's been like since 1934. They really haven't been relevant ever. That maybe it's time to just start to say, listen, let's give them a break because their poor fans have to sit in front of a tube every Thanksgiving and watch their team lose.
Well, they almost didn't.
Almost. I mean, hand shoes and hand grenades, isn't that the expression? Almost. Hey, Faceless, thanks for joining. All right, let's move on to the NFL. And a big game this weekend for the New England Patriots. So they'll host the Tennessee Titans this Sunday. And this game is going to obviously have some playoff implications. First place in the AFC could be on the line. Obviously, New England taking over AFC in the East again. So overall, from this game, what's some of the keys that you're going to really focus on for the New England Patriots?
Well, with Henry not there, I'd really like to see them squash any deep threat. If you can contain them and only give them short yardage, look, that's a gimme for the Patriots. I don't know how Tennessee is going to beat the Patriots, and it's weird for me to even say that at this point. But I don't see it happening, because you're gonna have to have a running game to do any damage to the Patriots.
Yeah. So obviously Henry being out definitely helps the Patriots. But what I would say is this: as a team overall, New England's third defensively, 6th against the pass, 9th against the rush. So they've definitely started to figure out how to slow down the run. The Cleveland Browns were actually one of the best rushing teams in the league, and New England was able to contain them for the most part. If you can make Ryan Tannehill the reason they have to beat you, listen, Tennessee is 21st overall in passing yards. Not very good. Tannehill, 13 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. He has been sacked 31 times, which is tied for the most with Justin Fields in the NFL. New England is 4th overall in sacks with 28 sacks as a team. Listen, get the pressure on this team. Continue to try to make Tannehill beat you. He's going to make some mistakes. That's where the turnover factor comes into play. And then the offense, honestly, listen, Tennessee's a very good defensive team against the rush. 5th overall.
Right.
But 23rd against the pass.
Right.
Mac Jones, here's another game where we need him to continue his growth, step up, and make sure that he's getting those passes. I mean, his completion percentage right now is, if he continues at this pace, he's going to be the all-time leader in completion percentage as a rookie.
Yeah.
And so you think about it. He's smart with his decisions. They're going to give you, obviously, opportunities since they're one of the worst in the league with the pass. Heavy pass game. Listen, you're going to still be able to run a little bit, but then defensively, create those turnovers, get pressure on Tannehill, make him make mistakes. We know he will.
See, the thing I like about the Patriots' running game, though, is that you really have 3 dimensions to it.
Yep.
Because you have the screenplay that is essentially a run, and the Patriots do that so well. And when you have, especially like Bolden, I wish it was White, but it's Bolden in that role right now. On that 3rd down, that's a big play for the Patriots, I think, in this game. Because that's going to be their running plays, is the screens. And so you're going to be looking at Lewis, and you're going to be looking at Bolden to do most of that. And then you're going to look for Stevenson to really pound the ball and wear down that line. And that's what they're going to use to break down that defense, so those passes will work. And then later on the game, hopefully you have the game in control, and then you can just keep pounding the ball, and Tennessee could be too tired by then.
And there was a stat I heard today that I thought was great for New England. If you look at the two-headed monster at running back with Harris and Ramondre Stevenson, they actually have the same amount of yards as a Derrick Henry. Same amount of touchdowns. So if you think about it, listen.
Well, that's
right?
interesting.
Right? If you can continue to, so we consider Derrick Henry the best running back in the game. Obviously, with him being hurt, you can see the deficiencies. Both of these guys should be playing Sunday. Here's a really good opportunity for them to continue to drive, run the ball, drive
two-headed beast.
Right? So just let's let they do. We'll do our prediction later on in the show for this game, but this is a big game. I'm excited. This is one of those games we haven't had in a while in New England.
I mean, when you think about it, if the Patriots win this game, they are the top seed
in the AFC. Yep.
Right. Like 3-4 weeks ago, that wasn't even a thought. We were hoping that they made the playoffs.
Thanks for joining. Right. So yeah, we're what was it? 2-4. The world's ending. 5 straight victories. And now they have an opportunity to really start to put a stamp hold on the division and the conference if they can win this game. Because the following week, it's Buffalo.
Yeah.
So, again, back-to-back really tough games, important games. So we'll have to see. But speaking of important games, were there any games of interest for Week 12 that you're looking forward to besides, obviously, this Patriot game?
This week is packed with them. It is packed with them. I mean,
a ton of good games. Yes.
I won't give the better ones first, but a minor game that is interesting is Minnesota San Francisco. Both teams are 5-5 now, and
you love Minnesota.
I don't love Minnesota. I just think
they put Minnesota in every week. It's
I do.
It's okay. It's all right.
Because I'm still hanging in there for them to make the playoffs. And if they win this game, that's a step towards it.
It is. I give you that.
Right now, as of right now, I really only have 2 misses, and that is Cleveland and the Giants. That's it.
And the Cleveland Browns you have going to the Super Bowl, so that's a big miss.
Well, that's a problem, but...
Okay. But go ahead.
But I'm not the only one that had Cleveland going to the Super Bowl.
I like that. I like it. I had one of my games, the Steelers-Bengals.
Yep.
I thought that was so Steelers at the Bengals.
That's a big game.
That is a major game in that division. So
because the other 2 teams in the division are playing each other, it's Cleveland and Baltimore. Which is one of my games.
That whole division can change.
Right. So my hopes is that Baltimore loses. And, well, I have a little special thing for Cincinnati because they've been dogs for so long. I'd like them to win, but Pittsburgh is one of my playoff teams, so I need them to win.
Yeah. So, again, I had both of those games, and I agree with you. That whole division could be completely different after Sunday.
Imagine if they all tied.
Oh, we talked about no ties. No ties in the NFL. Watch last week's face-off.
That would be hilarious. That would be hilarious if they tied both those games.
I had the Buccaneers at the Colts. One of my other games.
I do have that one as well. Game.
Listen, Colts are playing good football.
6-5.
Taylor, right? Jonathan Taylor last week, 5 touchdowns, 200 yards rushing. I mean, if he could get that,
that's a team I wouldn't want to play.
They're hot right now. They're playing
because
really
first of all, Jonathan Taylor might be the best running back in the conference right now.
He's the best running back in the league. He leads the league in rushing now. So, listen, we know Tampa Bay has a very good run defense, but again, some turnovers, good young defense. We talked about them on our preview show way back in the day that the Colts have a very good defense. They could give Tom Brady some problems here. Listen, the Bucs haven't wowed me all season. There's been games where they've looked really good. There's been games they don't look so good. If they go into this game and they're playing subpar,
they haven't wowed me since they just barely beat the Patriots.
Right?
That's when they stopped wowing me.
Big opportunity.
But it's not playoff time, so playoffs are a little different.
We know how Tom is in the playoffs. What about I had the Rams at the Packers. I thought
Of
that's a
course.
really fun game. That's a game now. The NFC. Here we and you got to feel bad for the Rams because they're playing really good football, but the Cardinals just continue to roll along, so they haven't been able to take over the division. This is a big game for them. They're a wild card team right now.
It's all part of the plan.
All part of the plan.
I said
Playing
Arizona
possum?
was going to win the division.
They're playing possum, the Rams, and they're just
They'll
going to
come
strike.
alive in the playoffs.
They're going to strike. What other game did you have? Do you have another game?
And the only other game I had was the Chargers at Denver. Because the Chargers need to win this game to go to 7-4. Denver, if they win this game, they stay in the hunt at 6-5. So there's a lot on the line for these two teams, and neither team can afford to lose a division game right now.
No, agreed. Any division game at this point now is going to be crucial for most teams.
This week is littered with great games, and then it's littered with some poop.
I know what was the game, and I don't know if you have it up with the Jets. The Jets, they're both 2-8. I can't remember who they're playing.
Yeah, that's the Jets and
Jacksonville.
Maybe I don't remember.
Hold on, I'm going to check that real quick. I think I'm pretty sure.
Is it the Jets in Miami? Texans. That's what it is.
So again, that's to get that second pick overall. That game, I know but you're thinking about draft status now. Detroit's pretty much locked up number one.
Okay, you look at some of these teams now, and it's like you got to wonder what were they thinking, not trying to get a quarterback in the draft.
Oh, the quarterback they did pick. Listen, we've seen some bad quarterback play from the rookies, and the one guy that slipped to number 15 right now has looked like the best rookie quarterback out of the group. Yeah. And it was funny. The other day I was watching or I was listening to one of our podcasts, and it was right after the draft, and you talked about Trevor Lawrence being the best quarterback that got drafted. And it was and again, I would have said the same thing. If you looked at on
I said that?
Yes, you did. Episode
It wasn't
11.
Trey. It wasn't Trey.
No. We talked about the draft, episode 11, and you basically was like Trevor Lawrence. We said, what about the Jacksonville pick? You said they got the best quarterback.
Yeah.
Right at number one. And I'm not saying, listen, you weren't wrong though, because if you looked at it, you're correct.
He just went to a bad organization.
Yeah, that's what happens when you're listen. Whoever goes and get drafted next season, they're going to the Lions, they're going to the Jets. They're going to the Dolphins. These teams have not been good.
No.
So it's not one play is not going to turn around a franchise. It takes years usually, unless you have a genius of a head coach and general manager.
This is why last week I mentioned it's like how did the other 31 teams in the league allow Bill Belichick to get a quarterback?
And that's why he's a genius. That's why he continues to dominate the league.
It's like, how do you do that? How did a team like New Orleans or Atlanta not choose a quarterback?
I don't know.
I don't understand it.
Kyle Pitts.
Carolina. No, we're gonna go get
Sam Darnold.
We're gonna go get Sam Darnold. He's our savior because he did so well in New York.
Yeah. He didn't have a track record. Once again, if you enjoy what you're watching, tune in live every Friday night at 6 p.m. You can watch us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. Follow us on social media at Sports Unfolded on Facebook and Twitter, at Broadcasting RI on Twitter, Sports_Unfolded on Instagram, podcast, Amazon, Anchor, Google, Spotify. We are now on SEC TV in Southeast Connecticut. That's a public access channel 12. If you like what you see, we're pre-recorded here, so you'll see us after the fact. You can tune in live on Friday nights if you enjoy what you see, 6 p.m. on those formats, and join us. Follow us, subscribe. A lot of different ways, a lot of different things coming towards you with Sports Unfolded. Ron, it's triple play time, my friend.
Well, before that, let me answer Sarah's question about
who's fighting tomorrow?
UFC. So the main card is Rob Font versus Jose Aldo. So it's nobody that's
Aldo.
Aldo.
Okay.
So there's nobody really on the card that's going to jump out and say, you got to watch this.
Wow.
So Brad Riddell versus Rafael Fiziev, Jimmy Crute versus Jamahal
It's like me doing hockey games
Hill,
right now.
and Brendan Allen versus Chris Curtis. So that's your answer, Sarah, for the card tomorrow on UFC. See, got all the answers.
You are just a wealth of
I'm
knowledge.
I'm on the ball.
You are a wealth of
I
knowledge.
feel like
You,
I'm dying, but
you're,
I'm on the
don't say
ball.
it. Not on the air, man. That'd be a little
No,
weird.
no, no, that would be
Okay, don't do that.
terrible.
All right, triple play time, my friend. So, how we came up with this triple play this week was obviously yesterday was Thanksgiving, a lot going on, a lot of people passing out food. So I called that the assist, the Thanksgiving assist. You are passing out. Hey, let me get those. Mashed
So
potatoes. Let me
basically,
get
the
that right.
scorers are thanking these guys.
Right. So yeah, we're feeding these guys the ball. Right. So our top 3 assist leaders currently in the NBA: Chris Paul, Trae Young, and James Harden. We're gonna have to start one, bench one, and
Now,
cut
we just basing it on assists
one. That's how I did it.
because then you just go top to bottom.
Go ahead. What do you got?
All right. Well, I'm approaching it a little differently.
You always do, my friend. That's why.
I mean,
this
because
show
when
works.
you're talking assists, I mean, you got 3 guys that know how to dish the ball.
Thanksgiving
So
assist. You fed them their turkey. You fed it. Yeah, you assisted them.
I am taking Young. Trae Young is going to start for me
Wow,
because
I love it.
he's the youngster. He has a long career ahead of him.
Long career.
I don't know if Harden and Paul can even get out of bed one day.
Wow.
So, especially Harden, he's got a lot of miles. So I'm taking Trae Young, and he's going to be dishing the plates, dishing the food, dishing the ball for a long, long time to come, at least another 15 years. Can't say that about either of the other two. Maybe 4 or 5. Maybe.
Okay.
So
who'd you benching?
Then I got to bench Chris Paul. I'm sorry. I think Harden is probably the best player of the 3, but he's up there and he's got a lot of miles, and I'll take the other guys over him.
Cutting James Harden. Okay.
Cutting James Harden. I thought I'd never hear myself say that.
So I looked at it this way. I looked at their career assist total. So if I want to make sure I'm getting my turkey, my stuffing, my cranberry sauce assisted to me every year consistently, what have you done over your career? So that makes Chris Paul my starter, because every year I'm getting my Thanksgiving fillings. There's no doubt about it. My man's going to assist me. He's 9.4 assists in his career average.
Yep.
Trae Young is my bench, 8.9 assists. So again, I'm still getting my meal. I want my meal. Thanksgiving. My man's assisting me. But that means I cut James Harden, 6.6 assists. You know why? Because he wants to eat more than he wants to actually assist.
Right.
He's more about scoring. He isn't going to give me my turkey. He's going to eat my turkey. He's going to take my stuffing, my mac and cheese, and it's just going to go out the window. So I don't want
cranberry sauce.
I don't want him anywhere near my table on Thanksgiving because he's not giving me an assist.
No, and you got the same 2 guys. It was tough for me to choose.
Yeah.
So I went with the youth. That's the only he's got a long way to go. He's going
to pass it out longer, but Chris Paul, master at it.
He is. He's a good player.
He is.
It's amazing how he hasn't been able to win.
Yeah. What? Jeez, Ron. You're just throwing some shots today. Hey, it's my hockey guy. It's hockey time. Let's get into some NHL. And we're going to discuss these 3 struggling teams: the New York Islanders, the Chicago Blackhawks, and the Montreal Canadiens. Which one of these is the most surprising, and which team do you think has the opportunity to improve? Thank you for
so that is pretty easy. I think the biggest surprise on how poorly they've been playing is clearly the New York Islanders.
Okay, I agree.
It's
7 straight losses.
It's not even close. First of all, Montreal is not a surprise. I knew they were going to stink. And
the reason why I threw them in there, if you looked at it this way, they were Stanley Cup Finals, right? They went to the Stanley Cup Finals. And I'm not saying they were a great team, but you didn't think they'd be struggling this poorly,
Oh, I did.
did you?
I did. I
Negative
absolutely did.
29 overall.
I thought the only two teams they would beat out would be Ottawa and Buffalo.
And they're 5-14-2 right now, Montreal.
Right.
So we'll just
And,
take them off the board. They are what they expect. Carey Price being out hurts.
yeah, and don't worry, Montreal, because Buffalo's playing poorly like they're supposed to be, and they'll be below you pretty soon.
So that leaves the Islanders, who you were very high on, right? They're
I
5-9.
thought they were going to win the Stanley Cup, to be honest with you.
They're 5-9-2, minus 19 overall on the points for against.
Yeah.
What's some of their struggles? 7 straight losses. So they were 5-2-2. They look like they were at least a decent team, and the wheels have fallen off the bus.
Yeah, they have struggled in every part of the game, to be honest with you. Like there's nothing that hasn't gone right, to be honest. Like their defense isn't playing well. They've got injuries actually. What's his face there? Pollock has been out. So that in itself, and you would think that wouldn't be such a big deal with the addition of Chara, but
Not doing what you expected him to do.
Chara might be in his last year.
Sometimes guys hang on a little too long, just a little, and he
You
might
know,
he might be on that at that pace. The guy that I'm thinking might have held on a little too long too is Marc-Andre Fleury, with the Chicago Blackhawks. If you think about when we did our NHL preview show, we talked about how excited this would be for Chicago because that was one of their deficiencies last season.
Yeah.
And 6-11-2 right now, minus 21 in points for against. Not particularly well. 63 goals allowed as a team.
Yeah, I had high hopes for them, but it's not a surprise because they were pretty bad last year. And I mean, Fleury should have been the one to change the direction, and that's not happening. And again, he could be in that same situation as a Chara.
Yeah,
this might
be
be the end for his career.
Might be it.
And you're looking at two teams that aren't doing enough on special teams. They're not doing enough 5-on-5. They're just not doing enough. Period. It's like let Frank come in and score the goals, but guess what? Frank isn't playing today, and you can't just say somebody else is going to pick it up because I'm not. You have to go out there and play, and this is no different when we're going to be talking about the next team.
Yeah, you can bring that picture up. Bring it up, man. This team is your team. This is your team, Ron.
It's all the same thing.
I had to bring this up. So they lost today, right? 4-2 against the Rangers.
Oh, it was ugly. Was it 5? I think they got.
Was it 5? Did they end up throwing a late goal? Because I know it was 4-2 the last I saw it.
Yeah, they gave up an empty net goal.
Empty net at the, so 5-2. Bruins lose today. 10-7 on the season at 20 points. 53 goals for, 49 against. What's the problem with this team that they can't stay consistent? I think they've had a game-winning streak, but other than that, it's been, win one, lose one, win one, lose one. They can't seem to get consistently on track.
The problem with this team is very simple. They expect someone to turn the light switch on whenever they want to, and it's not happening it doesn't happen like that. This is the NHL. Like any team can win.
Thanks for the bits.
Yeah, turd mistress also.
Yep.
When you can't just turn the light switch on and expect to win. And that's what the Bruins sometimes go into this mode. And it's like, it's like and they're all guilty of it. Like you see, like 5 minutes left in the game today, they flipped the switch and they just started playing great.
Yeah.
But that's too late. You gotta play consistent hockey throughout the game. So you can't come in second period and take the period off like they do every single game.
Can I? They remind me of another team in Boston. That's the Celtics. The Celtics seem to do the same thing a lot of times. But let me ask you this: Taylor Hall, we expected a lot from, right? They re-signed him, good contract. He's not Krejci. Not having Krejci on that second line, is that hurting them? Could that be some of the problem that they're just not getting that production out of the second line? Marchand's still leading the team in goals and points, right? You're still seeing that. Bergeron, I think is second. But Hall, we really expected to take a big step, wanting to be in Boston, signing that contract again. Could he be the problem with this team right now? At least for not the whole thing, but a chunk of it.
I'm not going to say it's because Krejci isn't there. I think you got two guys on a line with a guy that's a grinder. So you have Charlie Coyle and Taylor Hall who like controlling the puck and dishing it off for somebody to score. And the weird part about it is I've never known Hall to be that kind of a player, but since he's started this season, that's what he's become. He hasn't been shooting. And Charlie Coyle is probably the best player on that line. And he doesn't like to shoot, and he's got a great shot. And he, like the last couple of games, though, he has started to put some goals in, and you can see that shot is nice. So if Charlie Coyle can be a little selfish and take the shot, then take it. Because this line is capable of doing a lot with Coyle and Hall. Like, they complement each other so well, but I don't even think they realize it.
Yeah.
And that's part of the chemistry kind of thing, right? That's what Krejci had with Hall. And that's what made Hall so good, because Krejci knew that. Charlie Coyle is a different kind of player. Like I love Charlie Coyle's game, but if he's not selfish, that line isn't going to score goals. And it's not going to be Foligno that's going to get the goals on that line. So, and I liked that they moved Craig Smith with DeBrusk and Nosek. The only problem with that is Nosek isn't a scoring center. And this is why I really want Studnicka back, because if Studnicka goes with those two players, oh, that's just wonderful. Or Studnicka with Hall and Coyle.
Yeah.
Because I when he was up for those two games, when Craig Smith was out, he played great on that line, and it was wonderful. But there's got to be consistency. This team right now is just, I don't know, it's just blah, because nobody is taking it upon themselves. It's just Marchand and Bergeron that seems to be like everywhere all the time, and Pastrnak is always putting himself in a position to shoot, and that's fine. But somebody else has to do something. They can't just go through the motions and let that line do it, because that's not how it's going to be done.
Yeah. No, I think the Bruins will turn it around. I think.
Oh yeah, they will.
Like you said, once the chemistry starts to really mesh.
You've already seen a change on defense. Clifton has played horrible this year. He played great last year, in a limited role. But he has been replaced, I don't know, for like the last 5 games with Zaboral. And Zaboral he's starting to come along, and I'm really starting to like that kid. And I wish they would put him on the first line.
So speaking of somebody you don't like, let's move on to some NBA. Let's put up this man's picture, because I know you love this man. One of your favorite basketball players of all time. I can't stomach
this guy.
There it is.
I can't stomach him.
Man, love games. Got in an altercation with Isaiah Stewart a couple nights ago. Ended up getting suspended for a game. Stewart for 2 games.
Yeah.
Stewart was obviously had a bloody eye. Was a little more upset about the whole situation. LeBron is kind of downplaying it, saying he shouldn't have been suspended at all. Did the NBA get it right? 1 game for LeBron, 2 games for Isaiah Stewart. And take your
Oh,
bias out of this is what I got to
I
ask.
don't like if I take what happened. Like I looked at that play, I don't know, a dozen times maybe, trying to figure out if there was any intent, and you
Yeah.
can't really tell. I look, I didn't see that it was on purpose, but there was certainly something said afterward. Because I saw LeBron just like pointing to him and saying something. I don't know what he said, but he said something, and maybe that's why he got the suspension. And if he said something, then maybe he deserved to get that 1 game, because
I think
that was pretty bad. That
I think
cut.
you kind of see the frustration with the Lakers organization with LeBron James. It's not going to be easy this year. The Westbrook move didn't seem to help Carmelo there. We talked about it. Tech9, thanks for joining. Right, so many different aspects of that team and what we were expecting them to be. They are not.
Yeah.
And LeBron's missed some games. I think that was You know what? There's a lot of people that say it was intentional. And I think that was the frustration and his part of them not playing well. You're playing a Detroit Pistons team, which you should not have lost to. They've lost to OKC a couple times now. Like, they've lost to some bad teams.
Yeah.
It's not even like they're sitting there playing the top echelon teams, and that's why they're losing. LeBron James is what LeBron James is. Listen, he's got a lot of mileage on that body. He can't carry a team, but neither can any of these other guys. Maybe Anthony Davis if he stays healthy. But again, you're asking for 30-plus-year-old men who have played a lot of basketball to continue to win. You're starting to see the frustration. I thought that's what that happened. I thought Isaiah Stewart got a little ridiculous with the charge and trying to get through.
Yeah.
So the
Right.
2 games,
and he deserved the 2 games. That was good.
I get it. You were pissed off. You got a bloody eye. I get it. But then you're knocking over coaches and security guys. And listen.
Like I said, I'm not sure what LeBron was saying to him when he was walking towards him. I don't know. It could have been, maybe pointing at him and telling the referee he needs to check him out. He's cut. Like, he could have said that.
Yeah, right? He could have said, "Oh, you're bleeding." Ew.
I mean, it could have been that. He's like bleeding on the floor. You got to,
Yeah.
I don't know what he said. But for what happened, I don't think he deserved a suspension unless something was said after that point. And I don't know.
Agreed. Let's go on to face-off time, my friend.
I can't believe I was just defending him.
I know. That's pretty – wow. We got to write this show down. Episode 41, Ron.
That's it. I retire.
You changed your colors. LeBron James, now one of your favorite players.
No.
Face-off. So for my Giants fans out there, my man Mickey, he always watches religiously and always chimes in. Do you think the firing of Jason Garrett will benefit the New York Giants for the rest of the season? One of us has to be for this firing, and one is against the firing. So since you're first, I will let you pick which one you want to defend.
So for them firing?
For them firing or against them firing Jason Garrett?
And it helps.
And it helps them. Bro, there's probably not a way to argue this, honestly. I'll be honest with you. Because the Giants suck.
I guess for.
Okay, so you're for the firing. All right, I'll be against
the firing.
I'll be against it. All right, whenever you're ready, go ahead.
All right. First of all, this offense can't get out of its own way. Okay, it's been like this from day one this season. And despite Daniel Jones looking like he belongs in the league, the play calling has just been so bad and so unproductive that nothing is happening. Like, you can put up all the yards you want, but if you don't get any results for any of these yards, like, hey, if you're going to go 50, 60 yards every time you have a possession, but never score, then there's something wrong, and that's play calling.
Okay.
It eventually comes down to play calling.
Well, let
And
me ask you this
frankly, I
question.
don't think they went deep enough. I think they should have fired a whole bunch of coaches.
So that's my point. So I'm against this firing because they should have just went across the board. Joe Judge, who's talked about how disciplined they are, one of the worst disciplined teams in the league. Defensively, not very good.
Well,
Jason Garrett has nothing to do with that.
that was supposed to be their strong point.
Yeah, Gettleman, who's their GM, has picked players that have not fit with this entire system since he's been a New York Giants general manager. So to me, it should have been across the board. If you're going to do it, just do it. Like firing Jason Garrett, yes, he ran an inept offense. They weren't very good. They weren't being productive. He also dealt with a number 1 draft pick in Saquon Barkley, who can't even stay on the field.
No.
Right? So, again,
No.
bad pick for them 3 years ago. Jason Garrett inherited that. He gives him Galladay and Tony and all these guys that aren't very productive on the field. So, to me, Gettleman should have been the one fired before Jason Garrett and get him some talent to see what he could do. Was he a very good head coach with the Dallas Cowboys? Absolutely not. But listen, Joe Judge isn't doing a much better job with the Giants. So to me, it should have been across the board. Should have been across the board. So Jason Garrett, they're not going to be any better firing him.
Well, they could be. We're going to find out this week.
We will. Absolutely. Pick and roll time, my friend. Pick and roll.
Pick and roll.
So episode 41, and we've done this a few times now. We're gonna pick these all-time number 41s in their career and how we would rank them. So that would be Dirk Nowitzki, Tom Seaver, Wes Unseld. I
forgot the number
to Eddie Matthews and Glenn Rice.
Hold on 1 second.
So those are your 5 guys. From bottom to top. Who's your number 5, Ron? You're up.
Yeah, just get 1 second here. All right, so number 5 is alive.
Look at you, short circuit reference.
I'm gonna go with Glenn Rice as number 5. I know he has 18.3 points per game, 4.4 boards, 2.1 assists, 2-time All-NBA, 3-time All-Star, and 1 championship to his credit. I gotta tell you, when you gave me the names, I was like, "Who the hell is Glenn Rice?" I forgot all about him.
I like Glenn Rice, man. Michigan days.
Right. So
back in college, I loved.
So I forgot about him. So that to me was a sign that he should be last.
Okay.
Number 4, I went with Wes Unseld.
Okay.
Even though he only averages 10.8 points,
the rebounds.
He gets 14 boards, and I'll take that double-double over Glenn Rice's 18 any day of the week.
Gotcha.
5-time All-Star, 1-time champ, 1-time MVP. So I put him at number 4. Then this is where it became very tricky.
Mm-hmm. What do you value more? Yeah.
And I'm still trying to figure out if I got it right. And I'm not sure I do. But I went Dirk Nowitzki, number 3.
Wow, okay.
14-time All-Star.
Yeah.
14.
Not bad.
12-time All-NBA, 1 championship, 1 MVP, 20.7 points per game, 7.5 rebounds. I mean, he did everything that he could for that team.
Yep. He got him 1 championship.
Yeah.
Against the Miami Heat.
Probably the best player to ever play on that team as of right now. There could be one guy that might move forward.
Yeah, Luka. Yeah. I don't know.
Number 2, I went with Eddie Matthews.
Okay.
The third baseman, 12-time All-Star, 2-time champ. 2-time champ. And I know I usually put that ahead of everything.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't so far ahead of everybody else, is what I'm saying.
Yep.
512 home runs.
Yep, pretty impressive.
271 batting average.
Yeah.
1,509 runs scored. 1453 in RBI. Those are just Incredible numbers.
He
One of
did
the
put up
best,
very good numbers.
probably one of the best third basemen to ever play.
Luna, thanks for joining.
Maybe top 2.
All right. I like where this is heading. Go ahead. Number
Number
one Tom
was the late great Tom
Seaver.
Seaver, 12-time All-Star. He won a championship. He won 3 Cy Young Awards.
3, yes.
And in my book, that kind of is like winning an
Pretty
MVP.
big. Yep.
And 3 ERA champion or whatever.
ERA titles.
Thank you. I couldn't think of that. He also won a Rookie of the Year, of course.
Yeah.
Like his numbers are just so great. Like all the wins.
311 wins, 205 losses, 2.86 ERA.
Like his numbers, he's one of those pitchers that if you got to watch him pitch in your lifetime, you saw something pretty great.
Yeah. No, he was a very good pitcher.
Very good pitcher. So
I
went with Tom Seaver.
No, I love it. Listen, we had the 5 and 1 the same. So I'm not going to read the numbers because you already did that. Thank you very much. But I had Glenn Rice at 5. Again, out of all the guys. Eddie Matthews, though, I had it at 4.
Yep.
And I liked what he did, but I mean, again, 271 batting average. I kind of just Wes Unseld. I love the double.
I do too, and that's why it was really tough. 2 through 4 was tough.
And Kenny, happy birthday, by the way. He loves the pick and roll. We love the pick and roll. I had at 2 Dirk.
Yeah.
And I just thought, look, his number 14 and 12 on the All Stars and All NBA. So you kept flipping.
That number right there has been crossed out 3 times. I've had him at 3. I've had him at 1. I had him at 2.
Yeah. I almost put him at 1. And I thought Tom Seaver's numbers. So the funny thing, though, I did notice if you are a great player and won number 41, you didn't win many championships.
No.
Most of these guys didn't get many championships at all. So
no.
I thought that was
that's too bad. They deserved more.
As I was going
at least 4 of them did.
Once again, if you enjoy what you're seeing, check us out every Friday night at 6 p.m. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch.
I love the
Twitter.
pick and roll.
We are follow us on social media at Sports Unfolded on Facebook and Twitter, at Broadcasting RI on Twitter, Sports_Unfolded on Instagram. Podcasts, if you don't have time to watch, Amazon, Anchor, Google, Spotify. Now we're going to be on SEC TV every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. Check us out. That's channel 12 on your public access on Comcast Cable. So we are making some moves. Sports Unfolded is coming to a neighborhood near you. Let us know how we do. And if you enjoy what you're seeing, watch us live on Friday nights at 6 p.m. on those formats that we just discussed. Ron, prediction time.
Oh, all you UK fans out there, you might want to stick around for this.
We got one for you today. But last week we tied 2-2.
Really?
Yeah, we tied again, my friend. We seem to be on that trend lately. All right, let's start off with some hockey, and we've got on the 28th, the Washington Capitals at the Carolina Hurricanes.
I'm gonna go with Carolina at home.
They're playing better
Carolina.
Hockey. All right, how about on the 30th of November?
Did you pick Carolina?
Yes, I said it as me as well. Yes, Columbus Blue Jackets at the Nashville Predators.
I'm going to go Columbus.
Okay. I was going to go Columbus too. Now you kind of see we're going to do the same thing again. Here we go. We'll get something different in there. NBA on the 27th. So tomorrow night, Phoenix at Brooklyn.
Okay. So the 2 games we're doing both have Phoenix.
Yes, they do.
Now, the chances of Phoenix losing both of them are slim.
Okay.
So this is what I'm going to do.
Okay. Oh, boy.
I'm going to go Nets.
Okay.
For this one.
And I'm going Warriors the next one, right? No, you're going Phoenix to beat the Warriors. Okay. I'm going Warriors. I like it. All right. We got a different one here.
Although I should probably just go with Suns with the both of them.
Yeah.
And hope that they win one of them.
You didn't do it.
I know. So Nets and Suns. So Nets over the Suns, and then Suns over
I got the
State.
Warriors over the Suns. And check us out, our NBA rankings.
What do you have in the Suns Nets?
I'm picking the Nets.
Okay.
All right.
Oh,
NFL.
so you're thinking the Suns are going to lose both?
Oh, I did pick it that way. Yes.
Ooh,
All right.
that's dangerous.
That is. NFL on the 28th, this Sunday, Tennessee at New England.
New England. I'm very confident in that.
I'm going Titans.
You do that. You seem to pick against the Patriots and you lose every time.
It's worked. I'll take this loss on prediction every time. If I would take that all day. How about the LA Rams at Green Bay? Good game. Very good game.
I'm going to go the Rams.
I'm going Green Bay with his COVID toe. Aaron Rodgers.
COVID toe. Oh, come on.
UK fans out there on the 28th. So this Saturday, right? This Sunday. Chelsea versus Manchester United. Who do you got?
Well, Chelsea's given up like 4 goals all season so far. This is tough. Manchester United is good, but I'm going to go Chelsea.
All right, I'll go Manchester United. Just because.
Come on, all you UK folks. Where's Granddad when you need him?
Big
Turk
college
Mistress,
game.
I know you're from there.
What's
your thought?
November 27th. Number 2, Ohio State at number 5, Michigan.
Have I been right on all of these?
No, bro. No. Well, college for the most part. I think you've been off here or there. But
I don't know if I've been off because I've gone home team every time, and I think I've won every one of them.
Okay. So is that where you're going?
No.
Okay.
This is going to be my first time going of visiting team, and I'm going to go Ohio State.
All right, and I'm going Michigan. So we got a few on here that we didn't agree. So we got 5 games. There's no way to tie it. No way to tie it this week. I love it. Once again, how we end our show every week is
I could have picked a draw for that soccer game.
Oh, we could have. We didn't. How we end our show every week, we do our final thought. And our final thought doesn't necessarily have to be about anything sports related. It could be about anything going on in the world today. Ron, you're up first, my friend.
Okay, so my final thought is for Everson Griffin. The Vikings plays defensive end Everson Griffin on non-football reserve, basically for his mental health. We go over this time and time again, and I don't want to really get into the reasons why he got put on it. It's disturbing, and we keep saying, players have to be held accountable, and I know all that. They do have to be held accountable, just like everybody else, just like you and me.
Mm-hmm.
But we really, really need some more help for these athletes. Like, it's obvious, especially in the NFL rather.
Yeah, you're seeing it more and more. Yep.
It's startling how often it happens in the NFL, and there's got to look. The NFL makes a ton of money. There is no way they can't afford help for these players that really need the help, and most of them would probably take the help if it's offered to them.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
It's just not being offered.
I agree.
And at some point, the NFL, they're the ones that are going to be responsible for some of these players' actions.
Yep.
Because it's clear that players are in distress, and it's clear that they need the help, and it's clear that the NFL hasn't done it.
Yep. No, agreed. Great points, man. I appreciate it. My final thought, real quick, nice, easy one. Tomorrow is my wife's birthday. I just wanted to wish her a very happy birthday. I love you. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for supporting Sports Unfolded and me. I look forward to spending a wonderful Sunday with her after the game. So, a lot going on this weekend. But all our fans that have joined today. Thank you so much. We appreciate everybody that's joined. We had a lot of joins. Thank you for all the bits today. SEC TV, thank you for adding us to your family. We appreciate it. Ron,
Faceless, thank you for the bits.
Yeah, for the bits. Yep. Take care, everybody out there. Ron, great show. Thank you again. Take care.
All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Peace.